gosh.
She's so annoying.
Okay. How exciting. Look how cute this is.
I know, so
Oh
cute.
my gosh, it's perfect. Hi.
Hi.
So what are we going to talk about today?
All right, episode 2.
This is
222.
episode 2. Oh my gosh. It was 11:11 when we started this pod today. Do you guys like our setup, by the way? New and improved. We love it.
So
this is episode 2 of the Butterfly Babes podcast. We are the Butterfly Babes.
So last week we were calling it butterfly effect, but we didn't do our due diligence. due diligence.
No. So there's like multiple other podcasts called the Butterfly Effect podcast. So then when we went to like make the YouTube and like the email and the everything, we were like, oh, impossible.
We got excited, but Butterfly Babes, I think that's a perfect name for us.
It's us. That's who we are. We're going to pull from the Starseed Oracle deck from Rebecca Campbell. How's your week?
My week is going good. Just training hard. I think I've decided just to compete in the ADCC Open just because the weight cut, I don't want to feel like super tired and fatigued going against the best grapplers in the world. But I take responsibility because it's kind of my fault too. I should have planned this out. I should have hit up my nutritionist like 8 to 10 weeks ago and been like, hey, like, and then started my cut then. Either way, I'm training the same way, you know. I'm competing in 2 weeks and then again 3 weeks after that.
Yay.
So it'll be a good March.
Yay. You're always competing back to back though, I feel.
Stay in there, you know. All right, what did we get today?
Okay, we got You Got the Love. Hadarian energy, codependency, and boundaries.
Okay.
Interesting. Shall we? You got the love. Okay, should I try to read this one today?
Yeah.
Okay. The Hadarians, I think that's like an alien group, are believed to be the beacons of pure, divine, unconditional love who see love in all people and situations. As a result, they can find it hard to have boundaries, be independent, have healthy relationships because they only see the unconditional nature of those they meet. The lovers of the cosmos, they dive in fast. They're here to learn how to love with a separate body, to learn to love the self first and establish healthy relationships with others, to remember that the love they seek is already within them, that they truly do have the love all on their own. Messages of this card is to review the ways you need to establish healthier boundaries around the people that you love. Perhaps if you're in a codependent relationship, which you may be losing your sense of self. Inquiry. Do you love yourself in relationships? If so, how? How can you develop a deeper sense of love for yourself? Well, we didn't know we were going to get all deep and serious on the pod today. Shit. But
You love yourself in relationships. Okay, I feel like for me, I feel like when the hardest, not the hardest, but the thing I feel like I need to work on is like not letting my emotions get out of control. Like not letting like me and my boyfriends like affect my emotions in a positive or negative way. I'm not just talking about negative, you know? Because I feel like other people, with whatever they say about me, it's like I don't really care, you know? But then when it comes to him, our relationship, I'm like, I feel like I care.
yeah, I feel like too, not just so much in like romantic relationships, but all relationships. I think I talked about this last week too, is like, that is so me. Like I lose myself so much in just trying to like help others and be there for others and almost like a martyr, right?
What does that mean?
I don't know. Isn't it someone who like sacrifices themselves for like the goodness of whatever? But
I mean, when you're trying to work towards your goals or work hard towards anything, you kind of have to be selfish and put yourself first.
I agree. I was thinking about this the other day. Why does selfishness have to be so bad? Why does self-love have to be so bad? And if you're an empath, that's like exactly what they say is like you're supposed to love yourself first and then the love for others come.
But I feel like a lot of people don't really know what self-love is, or it's like everybody like learns and grows at like different paces. But I do know like the relationships you have with the people in your life is probably like one of the most important things, right? Because if you don't have relationships with people, it's kind of just like, oh, what do you have then, you know?
True. Okay, so then instead of like focusing around relationships, maybe we should talk about self-love and like what that looks like and like our journey with self-love. And have you always been a person that like loves themselves?
No, not at all. That's something I used to not have. When I moved to Phoenix, I started working on myself more and having more self-love, but I feel like, no, I did not used to have self-love.
What was the pivotal moment in your life when you were like, I want better for myself, I want to feel better about myself, I'm making a change? Was it when you moved out here?
Yeah, for sure. When I moved to Phoenix, it was a big turning point in my life and stuff like that. I've always felt like out of place, and I've always been like really insecure, and I used to care a lot what people think about me, and I used to like let it get to me, and I feel like I didn't really like know myself. I didn't really know what I liked and stuff like that. So I didn't really like, when I didn't love myself, I feel like nothing would really like not go my way. I'm not trying to like play victim, but I wouldn't always have the outcomes that like I wanted. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I think too, as a professional athlete, like you have to be your number one cheerleader, because nobody else, like when you compete, like nobody else is going out and doing it for you. Like you're the one that's going out there and putting your body on the line. Like you're the one that has the discipline every single day. You're the one that's like putting in the work on yourself. And I think that your development of just self-love and character it shows. And when you compete, dude, you're winning gold medals constantly. And
I used to get really bad anxiety, have adrenaline dumps, or I notice like if I'm too attached to winning, if I'm too attached to the outcome, that's when I don't win. Or
okay, so as a jiu-jitsu athlete, a professional, a world champion, and a female, like what advice could you give to other women that want to start pursuing jiu-jitsu as a professional but maybe struggle with like confidence issues or anxiety?
honestly, when people ask me this question, like I never really know what to say, because sometimes I feel like I still feel out of place, like I don't even really know what I'm doing sometimes. But the bottom line is, if you want to train and do jiu-jitsu, especially as a girl, like you just have to keep showing up to training. Even, you know, like that's really, there's nothing I can really like say. I feel like, I mean, it's gonna be fine. Find a gym and a coach that you feel comfortable with and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you're just gonna have to keep showing up like every day and just keep training. Even if you're the only girl there, still show up to train, put in the work, you know.
Do you believe in the saying, fake it till you make it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like I was always confident in my jiu-jitsu, and that's why I loved it. Like when I was on the mats, I feel like when I'm on the mats, nothing matters, like the way I look or whatever I'm going through. Sometimes my jiu-jitsu was like the only thing I was really confident in, you know, and that's why I gravitated towards training all the time, you know. Something I've been struggling with for a while now is finding something like a hobby or something I like to do outside of training. And me and my boyfriend were talking about this last night. I'm like, I don't know what I like to do. Like I have little things I like to do, like my routines and stuff like that, but I don't have another passion. And I train so much that sometimes, like when I'm not training, like I'm so tired or worn out, I just want to lay in bed and like scroll on my phone. Like I'm not gonna like go out and like find another hobby.
I think that you sitting on your phone and scrolling is just your balance of just being on all the time. How are you filling your cup outside of jiu-jitsu?
I feel like I always take really good care of myself, and I know that I always feel the best version of myself when I'm in like a training camp. Sometimes I take little periods of times off, but for the most part, like I feel like I'm filling my cup by just staying disciplined, you know, eating healthy, doing my meditations, staying hydrated, doing my cold plunge in my sauna every day, at least the cold plunge every day, you know.
Cold plunge every day?
At least 4 to 5 days a week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've never done it once.
I'm addicted to it.
Really?
Like I'm so disciplined. Like after training, I go straight to the recovery and I sit in my cold plunge.
That's admirable.
For 2 to 3 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
It's so good for you, and I feel like Tim explained it to me, like it's putting pennies in the jar, like every time you do it, because it's like you don't want to do it because you know it's going to be hard, but it's just like mental discipline, like staying calm in like that situation. You know, I feel like it's helped me with my training too, and plus keeping the inflammation down in my body. I feel like that's why I don't get injured so much. Like some people get injured all the time in training, but like for me, I take good care of myself, so I feel like that's really how I fill my cup. Doing things like talking to my dad, hanging out with my dog, hanging out with my boyfriend. It's just like the little things that make me happy. I don't really need much, you know?
Yeah.
What about you? How do you fill your cup?
Kind of the same thing, just finding ways to take care of myself and keep my body healthy, whether it be what I'm eating, what I'm consuming. I mean, in my industry, like doing hair and like being in the beauty industry, it's like, it's such a stereotype that we're like all hot messes and we all party and we all drink and we all eat like shit and we're all smoking cigs and like gossiping. And for me, I feel like I've been lucky enough to never really have that. And if I've ever been in that kind of environment, I feel like I kind of end up getting pushed out or I just leave.
Yeah.
So just finding ways to just be healthy, whether it be like the conversations I'm having with my clients, packing my lunch and bringing it to work, or like choosing like a healthy option to eat like when I'm there, because it's all about convenience too. Like I double book, I don't get to eat while I'm at work, so it's like instead of getting like fries to munch on in between clients, like I'll get a salad and just have like a couple bites in between.
Yeah.
But it really is about being more mindful in the micro. Be realistic with what you can do and just take baby steps and be okay with the baby steps. Like,
Yeah.
it's all about what you do on your day to day. And then in the macro and then in the future, you're going to see, like what Tim was saying, like it's pennies in the bank. The pennies will add up.
Right.
You have to constantly put in the effort.
I feel like it's the daily habits that you, like the little things that you do every day will manifest into something big. But you can't just do, like, oh, I'm just gonna eat healthy for a week and expect, like, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds or, like, you know? I feel like it's the things that, the little things that you do every day. And, like, for me, I've noticed if I take a few days off of training, or if, you know, if there's a couple days where I'm like, you know, like, fuck it, I'm gonna eat whatever I want, I start getting depressed and I start getting anxious and I start, like, I feel myself, like, becoming negative, and I'm just like, you know, like, why? It's so crazy, like.
Yeah. I am, like, pessimistic by nature. Like, that is my autopilot, is like, woe is me, and I really have to be conscious and aware. Like, usually it starts with anxiety for me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Get anxious.
So anxious.
And like overthinking, you know, I'm just like, am I doing the right things, or like, you know, like.
For sure. And you're not even present in that moment. You're not even in your body. You're like elsewhere. So once I start noticing like racing thoughts, then I'm like, okay, come back into my body. What's going on? You know, like drink water, take a big breath, fill up your lungs. Like that's usually what I notice too, is like, am I holding my breath? That's like my number one tell, is like where I'm at in that moment is like the quality of my breath and my breathing. Yeah. So just fill up my lungs, deep sigh out, and just like focus and just come back into my body and just choose. It's a choice. Like I can choose to be positive. I can choose to not think that way. I can choose to, you know, show up to work in a positive attitude. If my client, you know, is being difficult, which thank God I never really have difficult clients, but like I can choose to love on people. You know, at the end of the day, I can choose to love people who are unlovable. I can choose to hype up somebody who is sad. And I talk to so many people, like 4 clients a day, you know?
I know, that's a lot of swapping energies with people.
So much swapping energy. My acupuncturist had me get like a black tourmaline to keep on my station, because it's a lot. I love what I do. I love loving on people, and it can just wipe me out sometimes if I'm giving from an empty cup. It's no good for anyone, and my clients need to feel that, and it's up to me to give them a positive experience.
That's one thing I try to do too with training. I'm like, all right, like no matter what's going on in my personal life, like if I had a bad day or if I'm not feeling if I'm not feeling it, or if I don't feel like training, when I go to training, like, I feel like I'm so not good at putting on a front, but I'm like, I go in there with a positive mind. I don't try to like go in there and like put my negativity or my issues, like I don't go in there and start like talking about it to other people. I'm there to train, and I'm trying to be intentional, you know. So it is hard because sometimes, you know, like I feel like it's like people don't know what I'm going through. I might be like going through a little depression, or you know, I could be crying and then wipe my tears. 10 minutes later I'm on the mat smiling, you know. Like,
you just have to be really careful and have really good discernment around who you share things with.
yes,
Especially to like your personal life. Like if I were to like go into work and vent to my coworkers about something that's going on in my life, then they have not dirt on me, but then they like know things about me, and that can be kind of violating when like they actually don't care
and then
about
I
you.
feel like you might in that moment feel some type of way, but that's not like the whole, like they don't know like the whole like reality of what you're going through, or what you're dealing with.
Yeah. Just look back on different friendships, because I mean, for me, I'm not friends with the same people I was 5 years ago. I'm not friends with the same people I was 10 years ago.
And I feel like for girls, I've always been, like, I see, like, my brother and my boyfriend and, like, their friend group. They have the same friends since high school. Like, they're all boys. And, like, I feel like guys are good at keeping friendships. Like, even my dad, he has, like, my uncle that they're best friends in high school. He just came to my tournament a few weekends ago. Like, my dad is still friends with the people he was from, like, high school and growing up. And I feel like for girls, it's not that easy to keep friends.
What were your friendships like in high school?
They just weren't real. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like in high school, I was really insecure, and I didn't even know myself, you know?
Does anyone know who they are in high
So
school?
it was just kind of like, I never really felt like I fit in. I always felt like a loner, to be honest, in high school. Once I started boxing, I was like, my whole life, like, I just wanted to go to the gym after school, so I wouldn't really like hang out. Like, my friends, they wanted to go like walk around the mall or something, and I like was never into that, you know, or like just trying to like get at different guys. I'm like, like that's not really like what I'm into.
No. Like, I have like a couple people that I keep in contact with from high school, but like
I have a couple, but they're not like best friends type.
I'm also from a town of 7,000 people in Wisconsin, so it's a very different, like, I grew up very different than what my life looks like now, and I live a very different life than a lot of the people that I went to high school with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I look now and like some of them are still in the same town. I love that for them, and it serves a purpose for them, but like I couldn't even imagine. Like, I was bullied so hard in high school. People were such assholes to me, and like I was also a shithead too, but I also like lived my life was like a representation of like cry for help. I was just so sad, so depressed, so lost, so like my self-worth was so low. Like, how could we even have good friendships in high school when we were just so sad?
No, literally. I feel like I was so depressed in high school, and I didn't even like know who I was until like looking back on it.
But now we're getting older and we're learning, and we move away and we have different experiences. Now we have like different ways of thinking, and like it's cool that our brains are now expanding, and we have something to compare like our depression brain with. Like, we don't have to be depressed anymore. Now look at these really amazing things. We get to train every day, we get to work every day, we get to, you know, do the things that we love to do every single day, and then that helps you not be so depressed. Going back into the self-love piece of it, it's like, you know.
Yeah, like for me, honestly, like depression's like a really weird thing, and sometimes I still struggle with it. Now for me, it's a little different. I feel like since my lifestyle, like I feel like with mental health and athletes, like isn't talked about enough, at least for me. I always feel like since I'm so, like, I train in the morning and I train at night, you know, I go to training, come home, shower, eat, and go back. So I'm really disciplined. And then I don't really have, like, and I eat most of my food at home throughout the week. So I'm not going out to eat, or I'm not, and then in between trainings, I'm not trying to go out and, like, waste energy, like, doing random things, if that makes sense. Like, I literally just like to come home, chill, and just like stretch and relax before I have to go back, like recharge. So I feel like sometimes I do get a little lonely and sad because I feel like I'm always alone, if that makes sense. Like I'm so disciplined and it pays off, but it's just weird that sometimes I just feel like so lonely and so sad, and I like literally cry to my dad. Like I have no friends, like nobody, and it's hard for people to like understand like the way I think about things. Like no, I don't want to go out to eat, and like no, I'm sorry, like I don't want to just go and hang out for like no reason. And I get it, those are my choices. I've always felt kind of like a loner, and then on it. So it's kind of weird. Like I'm doing what I love to do, and this isn't all the time, but it's like sometimes I get into these little ruts. But now that me and my boyfriend live together, I feel like I don't really feel like that as much.
Isn't it so nice living with your significant other? Like,
yeah, it is.
Moving
Honestly.
with my boyfriend was the best thing that we could have ever possibly done for our relationship. Honestly, like I really do love living with him. Just being able to have like your counterpart there to like, I don't know, just to live with and to be with and to just, you know, build with. It's so
Amon,
nice.
he brings out that balance in me. He's always like, it's okay to rest. It's okay to take a day off. And sometimes I forget that. But for me though, sometimes it is hard for me when I'm so disciplined leading up to my tournaments. Like I'm locked in for like 5 to 6 weeks, you know, like being super disciplined. And after my tournaments, I always have like this weird like depression after. Even if I win gold, I'm like, okay, like I've worked so hard just for this, not just for this, like it's a big deal to me, but then I'm just like, now what, you know? Like even when I won worlds, like I'm a world champion now, like I should be so happy, and I was literally like so depressed and sad, and I don't even know why, because I just accomplished like one of like my lifelong goals, and I'm just like, okay, now what?
They say that happens to people.
It's weird, dude.
That's so weird.
I can't explain it. Yeah.
So as a professional athlete, a female, and someone who really is like diligent on making sure their mental health is like in tip-top shape and you're self-aware, what would you like to see? Like what kind of resources do you think that they should make to be able to help people?
I don't know what kind of resources, honestly. Like I'm lucky that I have a really good parent, like my parents. Like, you know, if I didn't have them, then I don't really know like what I would do, but I don't, because they're like people I feel comfortable talking to. They've been with me obviously, you know, my whole life, so I don't know what kind of resources, but I feel like
weird. Like there are no resources for just like.
Does Kyler get like that after his fights? Like he's so locked in, and after his fights, like is he like now what kind of, or?
The boy is like always so positive.
Okay, that's
So
good.
like he, even if he is being negative, he's so good at just turning everything around to be a positive, to have a positive outlook on whatever situation it is. And like coming from someone who is not normally like that, usually I'm like, everything's fucked up. He's so good at just being like, no it's not, let's just do this. Like he's so creative and just so like go with the flow and so like just adaptable. It's crazy to me. Like I've never met somebody so positive in my entire life.
I mean, I think for me now it's like 80-20. Obviously, when I'm more hormonal around that time of the month, I'll be like crying. Like I'll be so emotional.
Be real. Oh my gosh! Like hormones for women,
they're crazy, dude.
Crazy.
And then
Crazy.
like you really feel some type of way over like the littlest things.
You can't control it.
No,
You can't control
for
it.
no reason.
I'm so hormonal this week. I think that's why I'm like so chaotic and like
It's our hormones, and like sometimes we can't control that. Like as positive as we try to be, or like all these like, oh, I'm gonna read and I'm gonna meditate, and then like one thing goes wrong and I'm just like crying. You know, like, why? Like what the heck?
That was like me this morning when I got here. I was just like, I wish I could just like lay on the floor and just like cry for a second, but
No.
what would I do? No,
Yeah,
we like
no.
we
It's
did
a good
instead.
Wednesday. It's
Yeah,
a good.
it's a
We're
good
blessed.
Wednesday.
We're blessed.
We're so blessed, and like I think it's good that we're talking about this because people don't talk about it enough. Like whether you're an athlete, and I love what you said, because like what I heard as far as like resources go is like keeping your circle small and making sure that the people around you believe in you.
Yeah, I'm still trying to
And
help
support you.
myself, so I'm like, I don't know about resources. See, I feel like that's why.
okay, bruh. It's fine. We'll fix it.
Okay, well,
You guys,
we're just
we
gonna
can
have to
edit deal
deal
with
with
this
this
for
for
now. We can edit it out, or you're just gonna have to deal.
Alright, well, we're still trying. It's a little ratchet, it's a little janky, but it works. I think it's cute.
I think it's perfect. It wouldn't be mine if it wasn't a little bit ratchet.
Right? Like, this explains us, me and Jamie.
Yes, it does.
A little rough around the edges.
I love being rough around the edges though, and I think that's the number one thing about self-love is just pure
Like being
self-acceptance.
yourself, right? Like,
Yes. Like not giving a fuck, and I know it's harder to say than to do, but like you just have to do it. And who cares if it looks messy? Who cares if it's a little ratchet? Who cares if you look stupid or if people
Right.
judge you? Like who gives a shit? Because then that's their problem. That's not your problem. That's not anybody else's problem. Like blinders on, stay in your lane. Who cares?
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's hard, or like, I don't know, like you feel guilty, like, oh, I shouldn't act like that, or like, why am I like this and stuff. Now I'm getting, like, now I'm kind of there where I'm pretty confident. Like, I'm like, all right, this is who I am. You guys can accept me or not, but I'm not going to change the way I am to please somebody else, you know?
You've come so far. Like I just want to say I'm so proud of you for
Thank
just
you.
like the woman that you've grown into. Like I think, how old were you when I met you?
20.
Crazy. Like you have just grown up so much, and not even grown up in a sense where like you were just this like little itty bitty baby, but just like just your energy is just, I can't even put words to it. It's just more of a feeling than anything. Like you have just
I'm vibrating on higher
Yes.
frequencies.
Yes.
I'll say that.
Mhm.
I feel like a big thing too with relationships is like nobody teaches you how to be a good partner. You kind of just see like growing up like how your parents were, because that's like the only example that we've got, but nobody's like,
Yeah.
hey, like this is how to be a good friend, or this is how to be a good partner, you know, like, or this is how to be a good athlete, you know, like it's kind of like there's no like, I feel like the stuff that matters in life, like how to be a good person or a good friend, is not taught in school. Like in school we learn a lot, like a bunch of like things that you don't use at all.
Oh gosh. Like let's
I'm
be
like,
real.
what did I learn in high school? Like I don't even remember anything.
No, nothing.
I can barely spell. I'm like, I have a calculator, so I'm good.
I know,
I have
let's be
spell
real.
check.
Well, you are so lucky though, or not lucky. You're so blessed to have parents that truly, truly love each other, who are truly best friends, and like, yeah. I think that's important to remember too. Is like we're a product of our parents, and if you have shitty parents, and like,
Yeah, shout out my mom for
Yeah.
teaching me to be a good woman, leading by example. I'm trying my best.
shout out to my mom for.
But doesn't mean to
Doing
go
your
to show,
best.
like, I still try, like, you know, like, but when you're in the situations, the way you react to, like, conflict, or, like, the way you to react to certain things when another person's involved, like, nobody teaches you the right and wrong ways to respond.
And you know how you learn?
Yeah.
By doing it wrong. You
Right.
learn by fucking up friendships, fucking up relationships,
Yeah.
like doing the wrong thing to be able to put you on the right path. And I think we can be so quick to get stuck in like, oh well, I'm a failure. Look at all these relationships I've fucked up. Look at all these friends that like hate me now. Like it's like, no, you were learning, and the right people will be there for you. The right relationship will stick, and the right
What's meant for you will
Yes, exactly. And like we're not supposed to be perfect. Like that's the whole point about our human experience, is to expand and to learn. And the universe is made of like duality and polarity. Like you can't have good without bad. Like I love my life so much, and I am so grateful because I hated my life at one point. Like I struggled a lot with like substance abuse and like escapism and being unhealthy and doing things that weren't good for me, because
Right.
in my head I thought like that's where my self-worth was like,
For me, I just didn't care. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like,
no, why would I care?
I'm like, I don't care about myself. Like, whatever happens to me, like, I used to just not care.
Gosh,
Which is kind of like bad to say, because like we're so like elevated now. We're
oh
like,
my gosh,
it's totally different, but we're just talking about it, you know? Like, it's
It's
wild to
so
like
wild.
think like how like low and dark places that we had where we were, and then pulling ourselves out of it.
yeah. Oh my gosh, like I think that's also why we're so, like, why we vibrate on such a high frequency too, because like we've been at those low frequencies.
Right.
We've done the due diligence and the work to like climb up the vibrational scale, to make choices, to see like, is this what I want? No, we go this way. Did we do the right thing here? No. Okay, we learn. We go this way, and you just kind of keep like raising yourself up. And the more that you let go, and the more that you learn, and the more you realize like that's not for me, you make more space to invite more things in that will help you raise your vibrations, and it'll help you meet the right people. It'll put you on the right path. Gosh, I'm like, I just think about my life in Austin, like so reckless. Like my whole thing was like, I don't have feelings, like live fast, die young. Like I just didn't even give a shit about anything, like nothing. Like I partied every single day up till 4 a.m. like didn't work out, I didn't sleep, I didn't eat good. Like it was just not a healthy lifestyle. Was I having fun? There were fun times, yeah, but like, was it sustainable? No. Like that's why I moved out here, because it got to a point where I'm like, I physically can't do this anymore. Like I had a spiritual awakening, drove out to Sedona, and I was like, this is where I want to be. I'm moving here.
And you can change who you are. Like that's what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about too. Like you can really change your DNA and the person you are.
It's so crazy to like watch it though.
Just by the way like you think. I feel like a big thing though for people that it's the relation. Like I feel like it has to do with like your feelings and your emotions and being in tune to yourself. And if like something doesn't feel good like on the inside, like trust your intuition, like trust yourself and what you think. And no matter what people say, like if something doesn't feel right to you, or if you have a really good feeling about something, then like go for it, you know.
And also like being like so not sure, but just like trusting yourself so much. Like when you do have an intuitive thought or an intuitive feeling, like if 10,000 people tell you you're doing it wrong, but your intuition and your gut says it's right, like that's hard to be like, well, I want the approval of my peers, I want the approval of my family. That's just like how we are.
And I feel like that's what like greatness comes from, you know. Like people like doubters or haters, you kind of just have to tune it out. And if you really believe in yourself and you believe in something, like you kind of have to believe in it before it happens. So it happens.
And who cares if people call you crazy? Like you just really have to just be confident and self-assured, and like
sometimes you have to, you know, take bigger the risk, bigger the reward. Sometimes you have to take risks and like believe in yourself and like start the business or move out of your hometown, get out of your comfort zone to grow as a person. You know, you have to get out of your comfort zone. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to be broke. You know, it's okay not to have I don't know. I feel like that's what gives character those, and then from those hard times and putting yourself out there is what makes you grow and elevate.
Oh, Dr. Joe Dispenza says that all the time. Like it's so uncomfortable being in the unknown because you haven't been there before.
Yeah.
So if you just stay in your comfort zone, you're not expanding.
Right.
You're not doing the universe a favor by learning and ascending to higher vibrations if you're just stuck. And it's scary. It's not easy. You know, it's so scary. It's so scary to have like zeros in your bank account, or 0 friends, or no connections, or, you know, just not
or like
knowing.
not going to the gym every day, like not being disciplined, you know.
Oh, that's like
I feel like that's why I like the cold plunge too, because that cold plunge makes you get out of your comfort zone. You're like, all right, like I'm gonna sit in this 39-degree water for 3 minutes,
and you feel so good after. And I think,
and I feel like, okay, honestly though, like our generation now, everybody's soft nowadays. Like I'm just gonna say it how it is. Like sometimes, you know, you gotta like just stop being so soft.
Get out there, take the leap of faith, and the people that are meant for you will be there for you.
Exactly.
And like, don't get caught up on like who, what, when in the past. Like
the past doesn't matter.
It does. It's not even real. It's not
it's
even
like,
relevant. It isn't even real.
All we have is like this moment. You don't even know. We don't even know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Like, what if tomorrow, like, China bombs us or something? Like,
what if
we don't
in a second China bombs us?
Yeah,
Like, it could happen any
or like a
second.
meteor hits or something, or like the aliens come.
I
Like
hope
we don't
the
know
aliens
what's gonna
come.
happen, you know. So it's just like all we have is this moment. So just trying to like just be grateful for what we have and just take it like day by day, like not trying to think too much into the future, and then the past really doesn't exist anymore. So it's just like,
in the future we get to create. And I think sometimes people get overwhelmed with like, what do you mean I can create it? What do you mean I can?
I know some people don't understand sometimes. I'm like,
but then it kind of goes down to the self-worth. Like, I'm worthy of XYZ. I'm worthy of this dream happening. I'm worthy of this. And it's like,
and I feel like that's a big thing too, is like having like a self-worth and knowing that you deserve it. And I feel like for a long time, like in my tournaments or stuff, like I didn't really think I was like deserving, if that makes sense. It was like more of like a mental thing. But now I go in there like, you know, like I know I deserve this. Like I know I train hard, you know, like I know I'm putting in the work. So it's like, why wouldn't I deserve this, you know?
And I think that's good to have those like day-to-day practices of like meditation and cold plunge and journaling and reading, because then it just becomes a part of who you are.
Yeah.
And then your DNA and your brain is wired in a sense for like, this is who I am. Like, this is my automatic now. My automatic is a girl who believes in myself. I have high self-worth. I have high standards. I have good friends. I have a loving family. And then it all just falls into place.
And I feel like that's the certain things you can't control, but what you can control is what you have to focus on. And that's what Tim always says too. Only like what I focus on is what I can control. I can control what I eat. I can control how I think. I can control how many times I train. I can control what I do with my time, you know? So I'm like, that's what I have to focus on. Like what other people are doing, like I don't care, you know?
That's what I love so much about my job. Like when I meet people and they vent to me, like I feel so grateful that I can like make people feel good.
Yeah.
My favorite part about my job is like the connections I have with people and speaking life into them and like speaking truth into them, because what can you control? You know, not a lot, but you can control yourself. And if you can, you know, have somebody speak to you in a way that might be a little bit different. Like I meet strangers and I physically touch them every single day, and I always try to make sure like I compliment them or help them see life in a positive way. And like, if they're venting to me about something that's out of their control, I really do like try to help people. Like
I feel like you're good at helping people though. You really are. And anytime I go to get my hair done by you, like you always make me feel so pretty, so good about myself.
Oh, it's my job.
I feel like
I love it. That's what I love so much. Like I'm good at what I do. Technically, I've been doing hair for almost 15 years. Like I'm really, really, really good at what I do. But I meet different people every day, and it's so sad to see where people can be sometimes and to see how low their confidence is. And it's like helping people see what they can control and helping people see a different perspective of themselves or their situation that's more empowering is like my duty to humanity just in general, whether it be to my friends or to my clients or to someone I see at the grocery store. Like I always try to be as friendly as I can without attachments. Like that's kind of where I've gone wrong in the past, is like attaching and thinking everybody's my best friend. But now it's like, how can I just love somebody and maybe just like sprinkle a little bit of like fairy dust on them and then have them think like,
no, you're really good at that. I mean, at least for me, of like you've always uplifted me. I always feel better after I talk to you about myself. I feel like that's one of your life purposes, and I feel like you're doing really good at it too.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, because like it hasn't always been like that, you know, like kind of going back to our high school selves. Like I was such a little shit. I was so mean and just so, but I was also like mean to myself.
Yeah.
You know, I was not a very good person. I hurt a lot of people in my life, and becoming more of like a self-aware person, I now have the choice and the ability and the love within myself to be able to give it to others. And that's, I definitely think that's my life purpose, is just to like help. And I'm just I
feel like you're very vocal, like you know how, like for
Come
me, like sometimes I want to like tell people how great they are, but it's like hard for me to like find the words or be vocal about it. But I feel like you're really good at that.
Well, I've also like again like torn a lot of people apart and have hurt a lot of people, like I said. So I think that's why it's easy for me now to speak positivity to people, because I never want to make anybody feel sad ever again. Like, I want to, you know, be so much better than the person that I was, and that I'm like working hard in therapy right now to forgive. Like, I really want to help people feel good, and to help people see that they can love themselves, and that they are great, and we're all so unique. Like, the universe made us all different for a purpose, because we all have a unique purpose. And yeah, I think it's important to have people on earth like that. But you are different in a sense where, like, maybe you're not so vocal, but like your presence is very secure. I feel like regardless of anything, you've always been grounded, and that's something that I've never been. So I admire that in you.
Honestly, it's kind of weird to think about myself like that, because I just feel like I'm just like another like girl. But even at the gym, like recently, like they were like, oh, like the girls, they look up to you, like you're like, all the girls are like inspired by you, like they look up to you. And I'm just like, why? Like, or like sometimes I don't get it. I'm like, they look up to me, like why, you know? Like, I don't understand.
Well,
I'm like, I'm just Tehya. I just show up to training every day. Like, I don't
being
know.
humble's not a bad thing, you know? And like, I think more people could benefit from being humble, but just recognizing that, like, you are like an inspiration. You inspire me all the time. Like,
Really?
yeah. And again, like, you've seen my worst parts, but that's only because like I feel safe in our friendship enough to like maybe fuck up from time to time, and just, you know,
I mean, it's just we're just humans at the end of
we're
the day.
just humans, and you give people space to just be human, and like people know what they're getting when they come to you. Like, you're not a fake person, you don't put on a front. And I think that is just so relieving when looking for a friend, or having a friend, or having, you know, a partner, is like, you know what you're gonna get. And I think that's good. That's like true authenticity, and I think that you're rocking at that, and I think that's a gift that you have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel like a big misconception about me, like people always think like, oh, she's mean, or she's, mostly it's just like people thinking that like I'm mean. I'm like, I'm really not mean. I'm like one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, but I don't sugarcoat things. That's the thing. I'm like, I'm not gonna like make it like sweet, or, you know, I'm gonna say it how it is. And sometimes people think it can come off mean, and I'll say back, am I being mean, or is that the truth? Well, it is the truth. Okay, then I'm not gonna sugarcoat it then,
No.
you know, like.
And that is really, really, really important. And that also brings in balance, because you have people like me who are like, I sugarcoat fucking everything, you know? And
I'm like, but
I need friends that are like, no, Jami, it's this. No frills, no nothing. And then it kind of brings me back down, and like, does it hurt sometimes? Yeah. But is it necessary to have
sometimes
people?
the truth hurts.
Yes.
Or sometimes you just need, and I like when people are honest with me. Like my dad, he tells me the truth about things, you know. And like my boyfriend, like he'll say it to me bluntly. Like same thing with my coach.
My boyfriend does that too. I'm like,
yeah. So it's just like, you know, sometimes it's just, but it's what we need though. It keeps us like not like delusional or something, you know. Like you don't need somebody in your ear telling you how sweet it's gonna be all the time. Like, no, tell me how it is, good or bad, because that's the reality of things, you know.
I heard this before, and it like really clicked for me, for myself, because I'm the type of person where I always get my feelings hurt. And somebody spoke to me and was like, they can't hurt your feelings if you don't let them. Like if you look at it as a perspective of like, they're trying to help me. Does this conversation make me feel uncomfortable? Yes. When they speak truth to me, does it make me feel uncomfortable? Yes. But where does it feel uncomfortable? And that's up to the person receiving it to be like, why are they saying that? Where is it coming from? Where is it hurting in me? What part of my ego is being hurt by this? Because at the end of the day, like we're in control of ourselves.
And I feel like if you're secure with yourself, what people say to you, like people could be mean to me, or I don't know, like it's like I won't really like care that much unless it's people close to me, you know. But it's just like outside people, like I don't know, I just think differently than a lot of girls, I feel like.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of where like That's what I mean too. Like, if somebody was an asshole out to me, like the lady at my apartment complex that I was telling you about before this, like, sucks to be her. Like, it
like,
really
she's
does.
Probably hella miserable in her life.
It sucks to be you, and I'm sorry for you. Like, I almost like feel bad and like have secondhand embarrassment for her.
She needs to get laid and like eat a salad
For
or
real,
something.
girl. Like,
okay, like even for me, like I'll have people like I'll post my reels right of my jiu-jitsu, and I am kind of aggressive in my jiu-jitsu. I'll get people texting me like in different languages, like you're a bad sport, or like this is unacceptable, or like people like, why would you wear those colors? Like I have people saying shit to me all the time online, and I don't even care. I'm like, okay, I don't care.
well, especially online too. Like, what are you even gonna say?
Right? Like I'm just like, I don't care at all.
Like, why would you? Okay, you're gonna comment and ask me what kind
or
of.
People
colors
think
I'm
I'm mean, or I'm aggressive in my jiu-jitsu, and I'm just like, well, did I get disqualified? No, I didn't. So you guys are getting mad at me for following the rules. Like, unless I get DQ'd, you know, for something, then okay, I'll take responsibility. But it's like I'm playing by the rules, you know. So it's like,
and also, who cares? Everybody has a different style. Everybody has a different way of doing things. Everybody has just a different style, a different, like, everyone has their own little special sauce, and if yours is a little bit more aggressive,
yeah, that's
like,
how I win.
like it. That's you.
And I'm like, we're in a full contact sport, so if you can't take it, then maybe you shouldn't do this sport.
Yes.
I don't know, because
Yeah.
you know, like I'll get my ass beat at training. Like literally comp training on Friday, I left crying because I was just getting my ass beat. So like it's hard sometimes, you know.
And that's why I don't compete, because I'm not competitive. I'm like, if
It's
I were to go out
hard.
there, I'd be like, you can have it. You obviously want this so much. Like, you can have it. Like, that's fine.
Right?
I love like being a cheerleader.
You
to
can
my-
have it. See, I'm the opposite. I'm like, it's me or you, and I pick me. The fuck, like I'm gonna get that medal. Like I'm not gonna let you have.
I'm just not a competitive person. I don't have that in me. Like, I don't ever feel like I have to compete with others.
You can have it. That is not the mindset I have at all.
And that's why you're the best at what you do. And
in training, at least.
Yeah.
In other things, like I'm like, okay, like my leftover food, you can have it to my birthday, or like, you know, like
my leftover food.
yeah, like you can, you know, but when it comes to tournaments, like no,
That's why you're such a good athlete.
that's so funny, JB. You can have it.
You can have it. It can be yours. I don't need this. But that's what makes me such a good hype girl. I like training. I like the fact that like training got me out of like the club scene. Training got me out of the bars and being hungover, and it
Kind of saved your life.
it
Seemed to me.
truly did. And like,
People don't understand, like jiu-jitsu saves people's lives. Like
Yeah.
if you're feeling lost or you feel like you don't have a purpose, like a lot of people will sign up at the gym and it will change their whole life.
it really did, and it really boosted my self-worth, and like it really boosted the way that I felt about myself. And when you start eating healthy and you start like making it a point to like show up to class, and
I mean, training will it'll make you want to be healthy. It'll make you not want to go out and not. It's like, oh, I have training, you know. And then being around like a community of people that are like really positive and uplifting, you know. It's like you want to go be around those people. Like and everybody that trains, it's like they're choosing to be there. It's not like, you know, it's school where people have to go. It's like, no, everybody that's there is choosing to be there. So it's like such like an uplifting environment.
And that's what I miss so much about training in Austin. Every Sunday I went with my friend Christina, and we did a kickboxing class at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and then I always showed up late. Oh my gosh, I always got in trouble by like the guy that like ran it. But then we had a women's only jiu-jitsu afterwards, and like the guy that ran it, Mike, he was so good with all of us. We had the greatest group of women. It was like 15 girls, maybe. I don't know, I'm probably off with that. Maybe like 10, who knows. Anyway, like it was just so great, and I just remember like showing up so hungover every single day, every single week. I was so fucking hungover, but
You still made
I
it.
still made it, and I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to show up here hungover anymore.
Right.
I want to show up and like
Feel good.
be clear and like feel good and like have these cool women to hang out with. And it was just a different group of people, because
Mhm.
I was maybe training for 6 months at this time, and like it was a completely different world for me, and it helped me see life from a different perspective, and it helped me hang out with different types of people that didn't show up hungover. Like, it was so easy for me to show up hungover to work. So easy. It made sense. And like the type of job that I had, like, it was fine. You know, you could go out and party till 4 a.m. and then wake up at noon and go do it again. And meeting new people and being in a different environment where that wasn't so acceptable, it helped me raise the bar a little bit on like the expectations I had for myself. I started seeing more clearly like the benefits of not being hungover and training, and my body felt better and my mind felt better and my skin was clearer and I was happier, and it just all kind of fell into place.
All right, I think that was good. What do you think?
I think it's good. What time is it?
12:30. This is a long
Holy
pod.
shit.
We need to go in there. We're podcasters now.
I think it's good. I think we had a good pod. It was so funny too. I was talking to Ashley yesterday. I'm like, we're gonna keep it like 30 minutes. She's like, well, what if you get talking about something good?
Oh my god, we're gonna have to have Ashley on soon.
Yeah, I know. She said that she can't come on Wednesdays because she works. I'm like, duh.
Ugh.
Okay, guys. This
Well,
is episode 2.
Episode 2. Next week will be episode 3.